All right, picture this. After 40 long years of wandering in the desert, the nation of Israel is literally standing on the edge of a new era. I mean, their legendary leader Moses is gone, and now a whole new generation has to face down fortified cities and, get this, giant warriors to claim the land promised to their ancestors. So let's dive right into this incredible story of leadership, conquest, and choice, the Book of Joshua.
Talk about a high-pressure first day on the job, right? The book just kicks off with this dramatic divine command. Suddenly, the weight of an entire nation's future falls squarely on the shoulders of one guy, Joshua. The crisis is real, it's immediate, and the task ahead, it's just monumental.
You know, even Joshua's name is a huge deal here. In Hebrew, Yehoshua, it literally means Yahweh saves. And if that sounds familiar, it should. It's the original Hebrew form of the name Jesus. This little detail isn't just trivia. It frames Joshua from the very beginning as more than just a general. He's a figure of divine deliverance for his people.
So, with the mission set and the leader chosen, God doesn't just, send Joshua off with a pat on the back and say, good luck. No, he gives him a very specific commission, a blueprint for how to succeed as this nation stands right on the edge of its destiny. And here it is, God's formula for victory. And what's fascinating is that it's not really about military tactics or strategy. It's all about spiritual discipline. The commands are, be strong, obey the law without compromise, totally internalize it, and trust that God is with you. Here's the crucial takeaway. God's promises are a sure thing, but Israel's experience of them? Well, that's tied directly to their faithfulness. Okay, so let's get to their first major hurdle, the seemingly impenetrable city of Jericho. But this story isn't just about Joshua's army. It introduces a totally unlikely hero who ends up playing a pivotal role, a Canaanite prostitute named Rahab.
And this is where a central theme just pops right out, faith. I mean, think about it. Israel has seen God's power up close for decades. But it's Rahab, a total outsider, who makes this incredible declaration of faith. She's acting based on what she has simply heard about God's power, while her own people, who heard the exact same stories, are completely paralyzed by fear. It's amazing.
So how exactly are they supposed to take this fortified city? Not with siege towers or battering rams. Nope. They get this bizarre, ritualistic battle plan. Can you just imagine being an Israelite soldier, marching in total silence, day after day, with nothing but the sound of priests' horns in your ears? This isn't a military strategy. It's a test of pure, unadulterated obedience to a command that must have sounded absolutely absurd.
And the result of that radical obedience? Total victory. The walls literally collapse, just as God promised they would. And right in the middle of all that chaos and destruction, God's promise to that one unlikely believer is kept. Rahab and her entire family are saved, a powerful testament to her faith and God's grace.
So they're riding high on this miraculous victory at Jericho. They turn to their next target, a much smaller town called Ai. They probably figured, hey, this will be a piece of cake. But what happens next is just a shocking, humiliating defeat that sends the entire nation reeling. Joshua is completely devastated. He cries out to God, basically asking, why? Why did this happen? And the answer he gets is just chilling. The problem wasn't a failure of military strategy. It was a failure of spiritual integrity. A secret sin was committed, and it broke their relationship with God, contaminating the entire camp. And this introduces a really crucial theological idea that you see throughout the story: corporate solidarity. Basically, in the community of Israel, there was no such thing as a purely private sin. The disobedience of one single person, a man named Achan, brought judgment and defeat down on everyone.
The story sets up this incredibly powerful contrast, doesn't it? You've got Rahab, the outsider, a Canaanite prostitute. She hides God's men, and she and her house are saved. Then you have Achan, the ultimate insider, an Israelite man. He hides forbidden loot from God, and he and his house are destroyed. It's a stark lesson that loyalty to God means way more than your background or your status.
All right, so with the sin of Achan finally dealt with, God's presence returns to the camp and the tide turns. This clears the way for the main conquest of Canaan, which unfolds as a series of swift and really decisive military campaigns.
So over the next 7 years or so, Joshua pulls off this brilliant strategy. First, he takes the central region, basically cutting the land in two. Then he swings down to defeat a southern coalition of kings.
And finally, he marches all the way up north to crush a massive alliance of armies waiting for him there.
And the final tally of these campaigns? 31. That's the total number of Canaanite kings and their city-states that were defeated by Israel under Joshua's leadership. It's just a staggering military achievement that completely shatters the power structure in Canaan.
But here's a really key distinction the book makes. The land is considered conquered because the major military resistance is broken, but it's not yet fully possessed. See, the next phase required each individual tribe to have the courage to actually go in, clear out the remaining pockets of resistance, and settle their own allotted territory. The big war was over, but the work had just begun.
And who embodies that spirit of faith and courage more than anyone else? Well, it's Caleb. Remember him? He was one of the 2 faithful spies, along with Joshua from 45 years earlier. Now, at 85 years old, he steps forward with this absolutely incredible request.
I mean, this moment just tells you everything you need to know about Caleb's character. He doesn't ask for a nice, peaceful plot of land for his retirement. Oh no! He asks for the hill country of Hebron, the very place inhabited by the giants that had terrified the other 10 spies all those decades ago. His faith in God's promise, clearly, had not wavered one bit.
So now, the book fast-forwards. The major wars are over, the land has been divided up, and an aging Joshua gathers the entire nation one last time. He's about to give his farewell address, a final, powerful challenge to a generation that didn't personally experience slavery in Egypt.
And his message is essentially a powerful summary of their whole journey. He reminds them, look, God has been perfectly faithful. He fought your battles for you. He kept every single one of his promises. So now, your future in this land depends completely on your choice. Will you love him and obey, or will you turn away?
This all leads up to one of the most famous, most powerful lines in the entire book. Joshua basically draws a line in the sand. He doesn't just command them, he gives them a choice, and then declares his own personal, unwavering commitment. Choose today, but as for me and my family, we will worship the Lord.
And the people, they seem to respond with real conviction. They hear Joshua's challenge, they remember everything God has done, and they make this unified pledge. It's a powerful moment of national recommitment to their covenant with God.
And the book of Joshua concludes with this incredible summary statement. It really serves as the final verdict on God's character. Despite all of Israel's stumbles and fears, God perfectly fulfilled his promise to bring them into the land. His faithfulness was absolute. So, the book of Joshua ends on this powerful note. God's side of the promise is completely fulfilled. Check. But Joshua's final, urgent challenge just kind of hangs in the air. The land is theirs, the covenant has been renewed, but as the book closes and that generation begins to pass away, one massive question remains. Will the people's pledge of loyalty actually last?